Good morning. Happy Sunday, everybody. You should see my desk right now. It's full of show and tell items for today's discussion. And I've been running around the house and grabbing things that are both good and bad because I'm human, just like you, and have things that I could improve as well. But I wanted to talk about the everyday things that we can do to help ourselves, because I'm always looking at how can I make things easier, better, not progress the lipedema any worse than it already is. So chemicals are endocrine disruptors. The endocrine system are our hormones. So anywhere that our hormones are out of check or out of balance, it's going to drive lipedema. If you go back to a video I did a little while back, it was 2 simple rules, right, for lipedema. 1, keep your hormones stable, and 2, keep the inflammation down. So hormones is your endocrine system. So it's a very well documented fact that most chemicals, I'm sure there's some out there that are not, do not have endocrine disrupting properties, but definitely they, for the most part, do. Okay, so anywhere that we can reduce the chemicals in our life, we're going to help our hormones stay level and therefore not drive lipedema unnecessarily, right? Because that's the goal. Whether you've managed to reduce it or none of us can really reduce it. Let's look at it that fairly, but not make it worse, essentially. Or if you've had the liposuction and the surgery to have it reversed, again, making sure these things aren't in our life will stop it from coming back, because it can. Okay. All right. So here's what I did. I broke it down into 4 areas. And what I did was I just broke it into the 4 areas. Okay. And basically bathroom, kitchen, household, and supplements. They're the different areas that I can look at of improving or removing the chemicals that will disrupt my hormones. Okay. So let's look at household first, because that's kind of the shortest list. All right. So around the household, what do you have? So if you do this little thing as well, and the goal isn't to make yourself feel bad about, oh my God, look at all the chemicals and potentially hormone disrupting and lipedema driving things that I use. The goal is to go, oh, okay, inventory. You know how I always talk about taking your body inventory? This is taking your house inventory and going, right, okay, so what do I use in the household cleaning? What kind of spray and wipes do I use? Do I use these sorts of, I won't use the brands. What do you call them? What are these called? Antibacterial wipes, which now seem to be, especially for younger ones, the cleaning tool, which are actually full of fragrances, which are endocrine disruptors. And I know that because I used them yesterday to clean this desk, and I can still smell the fragrance. So anywhere that you can still smell the fragrance for a long time afterwards, phthalates, which are endocrine disruptors, which will drive lipedema. Okay, so cleaning. So write down. So spray and wipes, your washing liquid that you wash your clothes in, your dishwashing liquid, the floor cleaner. Like there's millions of other things that we use. Window cleaners, Mr. Sheen, I don't know. But I'm willing to bet that a lot of things can be covered by good old vinegar, tea tree, and dishwashing liquid. And I'll show you why I know that. It's because I keep it in this. Okay, so water, like probably about this much vinegar, squirt of dishwashing liquid, try and get a natural one, a whole bunch of tea tree oil in the top, give it a little shake, and that cleans most things. Okay, so if that doesn't clean something, then take to it with bicarb and lemon. Okay, so yes, it's harder because you've got to go to the trouble of making this up. But if you get a bottle like this and you keep it in the bathroom, in the kitchen, wherever you clean, it will become normal over time. Remember how I talk about changing your neural pathways for something to become normal? It's not normal at first to clean that way. It's normal to grab your favorite brand of spray and wipe or whatever, So I knew a lady years ago, one of my son's school friends' mums, she kept bleach, pure bleach, which I'm like, oh my God, from a thyroid perspective, shocking. But it was normal for her to do that in a spray bottle, right? So it's just about us getting used to what can we do that becomes normal. So by putting it in this for me, I use spray and wipe anyway, so I'm still spraying. It seems normal and it was easier to adjust to. Okay, so that cuts out a bunch of chemicals in my world that I can do. So, so that's the basics for the household, like the floor cleaner, all that sort of thing. Yes, there are stuff that we still use, but for the most part, I try in the bathroom and places like that where you're breathing in extra fumes. That's my go-to. All right, let's look at the bathroom specifically. Okay, so I've got on my list here, my handy for those joining. All right, I've written down a list of the four areas that we can potentially remove the endocrine disruptors. Now, in the bathroom, we're looking at soap that you wash yourself with, shampoo, conditioner, shaving cream, exfoliator, face creams, body creams, deodorant, makeup, hair products, perfume, nail polish, all of these things. I'm sure there's more. All of these things have endocrine disrupting properties to them. Okay. If you're not sure, take your ingredient. And if you want to say, no, it doesn't, take your bottle of whatever it is and Google the numbers on the back. All right. I dare you, because it's shocking. So here's what I've managed to do so far. So let's take the first one, soap. This is what I use and have used for years. It's castile liquid soap. So it's pure soap. And I get that in bulk from a place here down in Perth. And it kind of has nothing in it. Right. So it removes the fragrances, it removes all the things. So it's just, there's nothing in it. So if you get things like UTIs and stuff like that, you can bet your bottom dollar that any fragrances and things like that in the soaps that you wash yourself with down there will contribute to that continuing to be worse or not getting better anytime soon. So I have always got that, and I buy them in these ones. You can get them in 5 liters and things like that. And it's from a soap supply shop. So if you make soaps and candles and those sorts of things, so in wherever you live, have a look at those sorts of shops for pure organic castile soap. All right, so see what you can. But what I do is I buy individual containers, so they're in the bathroom, and that sort of thing. So, and I also take this with me when I travel. I pour this stuff into the travel soaps, and I'm good to go. Right, so that's what I do for the soap. Shampoo, I'm still struggling with shampoo. I've been using doTERRA up until recently. Then I swapped to one from the supermarket, which will be full of chemicals, but I'm just trying to sort of figure that one out. I've found a conditioner I like, which is from Mugu, and I should have brought it in, but I didn't. That one's okay, but I still haven't found a shampoo that I really kind of like. So I'm still working on that one. And this is the point. Don't beat yourself up if you can't find the one you like. We're going to talk about deodorant down the track. In fact, we'll talk about that now. And it took me years to give up my deodorant. And now I'm a firm believer in this little container of goodness. I do not smell. I'm not a big sweater anyway. So brilliant. And you know what this doubles as? Because it's kind of it's a cream, right? When you rub it under your arms, this is what I do now. What's left over on my hands, It's like a hairspray and it's natural and it just gets, because I have very frizzy hair because I've let it go grey. So, and I have always lots of, you can see on this side, lots of regrowth. And this, believe it or not, there we go on the frizzy regrowth. It's freaking awesome and it doesn't make my hair oily. So I don't know. Top tip. Put your deodorant on and then rub it through your hair. All good. And I think my grandma used to put her hand cream on and then rub it through her hair as well. If my mum's watching, she'll be able to say that's what I'm sure she used to do that. I can't remember. So that is deodorant for the win. So the chemical deodorant, which has aluminium in it, which contributes to breast cancer and blocking your lymphatics. We don't want to block our lymphatics if we have lipedema. So that covers that. Exfoliator. Now, I used to make my own exfoliator from that same company. I would order in little I think it's walnut shells and things like, and I would make it from scratch, which you can do, at least then you know what's in it. And I would put essential oils in it for the smell. And I've just kind of stopped using it now. So maybe if I go back to that, but you could use coffee grounds if you make your coffee that way. You could use sugar for that, not for consuming. A lot of people have, there's natural recipes for exfoliant if you need that. So have a go at that. Face creams. Again, face cream I tend not to use now. Every now and again, I will maybe put some coconut oil, and I keep castor oil as well, so that's natural as well. So, but I find the healthier I get with my food, that I don't really kind of need that stuff. I'm saggy, but that's because I've lost 60 kilos, which is 130 pounds. So there's no amount of any kind of expensive face cream that is going to fix this. So it is what it is. All right, hair products. So as I said, the hair products, how many things do we put in our hair, or that I used to? A phenomenal amount. Nail polish. I've stopped getting my nails done. I may go back to that at some point, but I'm not doing it right now because nail polish and having acrylic nails and all that kind of thing. There are nail polishes out there that are free from a lot of things. So that would be your next best thing. And same with makeup. Makeup is notorious for having all kinds of nasties in it to make it beautiful. But yeah, it's not making us beautiful on the inside. I don't recommend throwing any of these things out. I actually I use things up and then I purchase the better item, because, well, we don't want to waste things because who's got the money for that, right? So they're the things in my bathroom that I specifically I was just seeing if there any else that I brought in with me that I'm specifically getting to. So I've got a really clean bathroom now. We're getting really close to it being chemical free from my perspective, right? My husband still uses shaving cream and all that sort of thing, but all the things that I use, it's about, he doesn't have lipedema, so I do. So it's about me and what I want to reduce for me. All right, next section. Actually, I'll leave that to last. The next section is supplements. Now, this might seem really weird, but things like I use this D3 and K2 spray, right? Here's the difference between supplements from a practitioner brand, which is this is because I'm a practitioner, and ones that are off the shelf and cheaper ones, and it's what's called excipients. All right, so excipients in any supplement, they're all the things that go into that supplement to make it slide down easy, or in the case of vitamin D, it's a fat soluble vitamin. So as is vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K, they have to be paired with some kind of fat because they're fat soluble. So practitioner brands, this vitamin D is cut with olive oil. You will find that less expensive brands are cut with the canola oils, the seed oils, which are inflammatory to us. So generally, in my experience, the difference between a practitioner brand and an off-the-shelf brand, over-the-counter brand, is what it's mixed with, what it's what it's cut with. So if you've ever wondered why, it's not about getting the extra cut from the naturopath or whatever. It's literally the excipients and the ingredients in that tablet that makes it better quality. And while that wouldn't matter for some people, a lot of people maybe, if you're trying every way you can to reduce inflammation and keep your hormones level, then and you're taking a bunch of supplements every day, that could add up, because I've always said it's the little things we do every day that move the dial. It's not the big things that we do, right? I spent 4 weeks in an Ayurvedic hospital in India in 2019. Best time ever. I was waited on hand and foot. The doctor came to my door every day, all my supplements, all my medicines. I got massaged every day. Best experience ever. Did that change anything for me? It did for those 4 weeks. It was the best holiday ever. But it's the stuff I do every day that moves the dial with my health, right? It's these little things that add up and add up. So, while each of these different 4 sections that we've got here, the bathroom, the kitchen, the household, and the supplements, on their own, one thing on each list on their own might be great and fine and doesn't affect you. But we've got 10, 20 things under every list, which is just compounding. And our bodies aren't coping, and we've got a body that's compromised and isn't quite working right in the first place with lipedema. So we've got to give it every helping hand that we can to just keep the status quo so that we're not progressing the lipedema, right? That's my little soapbox for the morning. Okay, so supplements. That's why you buy practitioner brand supplements as opposed to over the counter. That's the only reason, right? To me, my way of thinking. All right, so the last section that I've got so much around me here is the kitchen. Now, there's obviously the cleaning side of the kitchen, the pump soap that we clean our hands with when we've been using meat and whatever. That's why I have this all over the house. I've got a few of these, and I put them in the kitchen. I put them in the bathroom. My husband chooses to use a normal pump soap. That's his, I'm not going to get all upset and make him and force him to use my soap, but I'm not going to use his soap either. So I just make sure for me, I've got what I need around the house. Okay. That's my biggest top tip. Stop trying to talk everybody else around you into following your journey. You just put your thing there. You take care of you. They'll either get on board or they won't. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that you are reducing your chemical load, right? Particularly with husbands, because they can't get lipedema. Well, for the most part that they know of, they don't get lipedema. So this is about you and your journey. So the stress of worrying about them doing your thing is just going to increase your cortisol and drive your lipedema. It's this domino effect, right? So anyway, so in the kitchen, we've got the pump soap, the cleaners, the wipes. If you're using wipes to clean everything right now, that's like get some microfiber cloths and your tea tree and vinegar and try, and it's not going to feel comfortable to begin with. You're not going to think that it's clean. We actually don't need everything to be antibacterial wiped. That's wiping out our gut microbiome by doing that constantly, because we do need some germs to build that. But tea tree in this mix is actually antimicrobial. Okay, so that's why I put it in there. So that's the cleaning. That's the same as the rest of the house. But specifically in the kitchen. Dishwasher tablets. I read some nasty, nasty things recently about dishwasher tablets and the coating it leaves on your dishes. And yeah, so do what you want with that one. I'm like, oh no. The more you read, the more you can't unsee things, right? But let's get into the food now because I've got a lot of that around me. So foods is another place where our processed foods are cut with things. And I know it's really hard because convenience, which is killing us, is why we buy these things. But here's some examples. Now, this is a spice that we've used so much that I used to buy it in bulk. I have not used it in a long time because a while back I discovered that my very favorite, sorry, I shouldn't use the brand, Tuscan seasoning, and I love it, has, let's see, this is the ingredients in the back. I've got to put it back because I've got different glasses on. Salt, sugar, garlic, which contains sulfites, pepper, rosemary, parsley, and vegetable oils, and it may contain sesame seeds. So the first ingredient is salt and sugar. Is it any wonder it tasted great, right? And vegetable oil is the last one. So what can you do? You can I could buy the salt, the garlic granules, the rosemary, and the parsley and make my own mix, right? With these things that have one ingredient, rosemary. You can make your own mixes. There are mixes now. I don't know how worldwide these are. Mingle, they're no nasties, got nothing in it. So they're great. They've got no oils. I really don't know why there's oils in herbs and spices. I don't get that. But anyway, because these ones don't and they last a really long time. So anyway, herbs and spices, an absolute like tricky spot. And you can even get, so this is a salt I've used for years, all right? And it's all organic. It has, the first ingredient is sea salt, and then it has celery, leek, cress, onion, chives, parsley, lovage, garlic, basil, marjoram, rosemary, and thyme. It has kelp, so there's a little bit of iodine for me for my thyroid. Nothing else. It doesn't have vegetable oils in it or anything like that, or sugar or anything like that. And I get a little bit of all sorts of things for my gut microbiome. If you haven't watched that video with the gut engineer, Natalie Woodman, so that's the salt that I use. Butters. Spreadable butters are a huge source of canola oils, seed oils, chemicals like preservatives, things like that. And it's not cheap, but you can get, this one is 100% butter. It must be spreadable because it's been whipped differently or something. I don't know. It is not cheap. Here in Australia, this is $9.50. Well, here in Karratha, it is. But we don't eat a lot of bread and toast these days. So it goes, a long way, but ridiculously expensive. So $9.50 in American is probably, I'm going to say $15, $16, something like that. It's just ridiculous. But I am happy to pay that because it's got no extra things in it. If you remember that convenience is what's the key, if it's really convenient, easy to spread for the kids, that kind of thing, it's going to have stuff in it. It's going to have extra things. And this in the fridge, right? Lemon juice. And it's got, numbers in it and preservatives in it, and it's even got flavor in it. But it's more convenient than buying a lemon every now and again, right? Because I mostly eat carnivore. Sometimes every now and again I'm trying to bring in a few veggies and be more keto. And I made some broccolini last night. And I was a cook years ago, and I put lemon juice and butter and cooked it in that, and some almonds, right? So it's an old side dish from the restaurant days. And I wouldn't think to run out and buy a lemon unless you've got a lemon tree. But when you look at what's on the back, again, all the extras, right? So there's so many things in our world. Oh, cooking oils, right? So I got some avocado oil because all the keto people are like, avocado oil, avocado. The smell is awful. So I don't know whether this oil is rancid. I bought a quality one. So if you've used avocado oil, tell me what it smells like for you, because I'm just like, oh, it smells terrible. For the most part, I do what my great grandmother did. And I save fat from when I cook bacon, meat, that sort of thing. I pour them into containers. I did slow cooked, what do you call it, lamb shanks the other day. And I poured the rest of that into a container and I use that to cook my meat and eggs and all of that. Tastes amazing and it's real. It's actually real. It's not cut with anything. It's not made rancid, which turns into chemicals that we can't cope with. So I think it's all about, when it comes to all of this kind of thing that's around me here, it's literally about going back to the old ways. We need to make that really trendy, I guess. And I think it is becoming trendy because so many people are watching the self-sufficient people that are living on farms and making all their own sauerkrauts, and that they're becoming really, really popular YouTube channels. So I think it is gaining traction that we go back to the old ways. And, make our own cleaners, make our own, foods from scratch, and make our own herbs and spices, grow them in the garden, put them in the dehydrator. Then we're missing all the chemicals and numbers that we need to preserve these things that aren't real, So that was just today. I just went, no, these are really easy things we can do. Okay. They're easy to do. They're not simple in our minds to do. So write yourself a list, go to every room, right? And go, okay, what am I dealing with? That's your starting point. What's my starting point? What can I change out? Perfume. Can you change it out for essential oils? You might become addicted to essential oils, but that won't hurt you. So that's okay. What face creams and what things in, us women, we end up with all kinds of things under the bathroom counter. What can you get rid of? What do you never use? What can you use instead of? Like, who'd have thought I could use my deodorant to, smooth my hair back? It's just but the way I see it is, that's a 2-for-1. I haven't done it very well, but that's a 2-for-1, and I have less products and my bathroom is cleaner because of it, which makes me have a clearer mind. The less stuff we have, and I might do another video on decluttering and stuff, because that's anywhere that we're stressed, that's going to increase cortisol, and that is going to disrupt our pathways and grow lipedema, right? It's always, you look at something and you go, oh, really? A bit of spices, because this used to go on pizzas that we would make from scratch, right? And that is the next best step. If you eat pizzas, make the pizza from scratch. That's your starting point. That's your starting point with any of these sorts of things, is what's the next step? What can I do that's sort of fairly easy? And for us, it was, let's make the pizza, not buy the pizza. I can't remember the last time we even made a pizza now. We sold our pizza oven, right? But that's what this used to go on. So how hard would it be for me to go to the supermarket and get a jar this size of just one ingredient of all the different things in that and make my own mix? Store it in glass, not plastics, because microplastics are ending up in everything. We've talked about that on another video. It's little things at a time. And if you're going to store it all in a thing, I've got all these leftover peanut butter containers that it can go in. Yes, her hairdresser told her long ago that hand moisturizer does the same thing in your hair. There you go. Thanks. So definitely anything that you can do to reduce the chemical load in your world, you will stop will not stop, but you will help to keep your hormones balanced, right? Lipedema driven by inflammation and hormones. Hormones out of kilter is driven by chemicals, and that's cortisol, that's the chemicals in all these things and our products that infiltrate our world. They're everywhere now. There's no avoiding it unless you go to this kind of trouble. All right. And then once you've done it for a while, it becomes normal. It would not even occur to me to not wash in castile soap, right? If I ran out of soap and we were on a holiday somewhere and I couldn't get a form of castile soap, then I would probably just wash with water, I guess. I certainly wouldn't wash with anything perfumed down there. I would probably use normal soap under my arms, but that would be about it. So there's things that eventually do become normal for us, especially like how we clean, right? It just becomes normal. And any way that we can bring up our kids with these old ways of, oh, no, it's normal to use vinegar and tea tree oil and dishwashing liquid in a spray bottle. That's normal. That's how we clean, right? So again, if you missed that in the beginning, a spray bottle, about this much water, and another this much of vinegar, white vinegar, a few squeezes of dishwashing liquid, try and get like natural dishwashing liquid, or I never occurred to me I could be using castile soap, but I get natural dishwashing liquid anyway. But you could use the castile soap and tea tree oil. Tea tree is antibacterial. You could even put eucalyptus in there, right? Good old Aussie eucalyptus. That's also antibacterial. And it's lovely. It leaves a beautiful smell everywhere, and it's invigorating smell rather than a fragrance, which is full of phthalates, which is an endocrine disruptor, which will drive our lipedema. Okay. So it all has this knock-on effect. However, we're always so freaking busy, and just keeping our heads above water with everything that we do, that convenience is our friend most of the time. But we need to get in our head that convenience is killing us. Convenience is driving our lipedema. So anything that is convenient, saving your fat from, the bottom of the slow cooker after cooking your lamb shanks, that's not convenient. It's so much more convenient spraying an olive oil on a pan or whatever. This one's not going to hurt our body. Our body knows what to do with this, right? And I'm not saying olive oil will harm us, but you've got to make sure you are getting pure olive oil. I read something recently that said there is not enough olive trees on the planet to support the amount or the variety of olive oils in the supermarket. Most of them are cheap oils with like 1% olive oil in them, because they don't have to say. And that's a similar thing actually with the supplements. The cheaper supplements, as opposed to the over-the-counter, as opposed to the practitioner supplements, a lot of the cheaper supplements over the counter do not have to disclose their excipients, their fillers, what's in them. They don't have to, right? Whereas the practitioner brands will pretty much state, and you will also be able to go onto their website and see what's in them. Potentially, I've never done that with the over-the-counter ones. You can do that too. But they're just a lot more transparent with what's in them. So I think that's the takeaway, right? It is to go back to the old ways. Make your sauerkraut. That's really random, but I was watching a lady make it the other day going, oh, that looks pretty easy. I think I could do that. Make your herbs and spices mix and put it in a glass jar. Things like that. Pay the extra money for the butter, but lower your carbs, because a low-carb diet means less pain with lipedema, right? So therefore, the butter should go longer. You shouldn't go through it as much as you would do normally. There's pros and cons to everything, but I know with lipedema that I've seen where it can go. I've been at that extra stage where I think I was on the verge of it getting to maybe stage 3. Then I had the weight loss surgery, and I was able to lose everything that wasn't the lipedema fat. So I've had surgery on my arms now. So I've clawed it back. But all of these things will drive it forward again if I don't keep them out of my diet, for the most part. It's the things we do every single day that make the difference, because they're the things that build up in our bodies, you know, in our lymphatics, in our hormones. So, you know, as I said, it's those one-off, you know, big health kicks and having a diet and all that sort of thing. Yeah, great. But it's the stuff you do every day that contributes to 80% of what's going on in your body. So that's why I'm always looking at, what am I doing every day? What am I cooking with 3 times a day? You know, because I'm carnivore. I would say I'm high animal based, put it that way, because I am trying to bring in veggies, anti-inflammatory veggies, right? So cooking 3 times a day, that's an easy change that I'm used to now. You know, cleaning. We all clean after every meal most of the time. You know, we don't always. So, what are the things you are always doing? Start with that. That's your biggest change in your health, is to change that one thing that if you're if you have OCD and you are cleaning all the time, that's what you start with. I don't know what happens in your brain if you've got OCD, and whether or not that means you like can't swap to something more natural. I'm not sure, because I don't have that. But if you do, let me know, because that's something that I would be interested to know, whether you can change your mindset around that kind of thing. But yeah, look, honestly, anything, I'm looking around at all these things, you know, look for seasonings, look for things that just don't have those extra things in it. That's what's going to make the change. Anything convenient, look at what's convenient for you in your household. If it's convenient, can guarantee it's got some kind of chemical in it, some kind of seed oil in it, some kind of preservative in it, some kind of thing that will be disrupting your hormones and driving lipedema. All right. So, unless anybody has any questions, then now's your time to ask me. I am going to go, and I've got other things to clean today. And that's it from me. So I hope everybody is well. I hope everybody is moving well and your bodies are doing okay today. And I will see you next Sunday, but there'll be a few videos in between now and then. So see you then. Bye.